Hey everyone, Thursday's math. I'm going to try to keep this one short and sweet. So page 249, I want to look at two questions on that page. The answer keys are up, but this sometimes helps to work through it step by step. Remember, if you need help, come and see me Google Class or the Google Meet. So the question was, if you flip 3 coins, 1, 2, 3, right, all at the same time, what are the chances of getting all heads? Well, you have to list all your outcomes. Although there is a shortcut, right? There's 2 outcomes with the first coin, 2 with the second coin, and 2 with the third coin. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So my denominator is going to be out of 8. There's 8 possible outcomes. So I could use 2 different ways of figuring this out. This is the tree method. So as I start here, I flip my first coin and then get heads and tails. My second coin, if I get heads here, I could also get heads and tails here on my second coin, right? First coin, tails, second coin, heads and tails. And then my third coin. So I could have heads, 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 tails, right? Heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, tails. Or I could list it like this. First coin, second coin, third coin. Heads, 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 tails, heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, tails. That's all the combinations if I get heads in the first one. And then I get tails. You can list them. You can see it, okay? So it doesn't really matter how you figured that out. But what I need to do is I need to know the denominator, which is 8, right? 2 outcomes times 2 times 2. There's 8 outcomes. And how many different ways of getting all heads? Well, there's only one way to get all heads, right? So it's 1 out of 8. And then 1 divided by 8 times 100, you get the percentage for that. Number 9, I put up there because it's almost the identical questions. All heads or all tails, right? So there's 2 different outcomes we're looking for. All heads, 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 or all tails, 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 tails. So there's still 8 possible outcomes, but 2 of those outcomes are the ones we're looking for. All heads or all tails. So the chances would be 2 out of 8, right? So 2 divided by 8 times 100 is 25%. And that's it. From the Google form, question 6 was a question that wasn't overly well done, at least from the respondents so far. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you do that, but you can watch this first. It said, if you have a spinner that has 5 equally divided up, pie shapes, and another one that's got 4, and you spin it at the same time, you could list all the outcomes, right? So on the first one, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then for each one of those, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you could have a 1 on the first one, and a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the second one, right? A 2 on the first one, and a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the second one. A 3 on, right? So these are all my listed outcomes, 20 of them, right? And how many different ways are there of getting a 1 and a 1? Well, there's only one way to get a 1 and a 1, okay? So 1 out of 20. A shortcut would be this. 5 outcomes here, 4 outcomes here, so there's 20 different outcomes. That's my denominator, right? And there's only one way to get a 1 and a 1. You know that by looking at these. There's only one way to get a 1 and a 1 if the spinner lands here and the spinner lands here, okay? So that would be one way out of 20. And then to get percentage, 1 divided by 20 times 100 would be 5%. That's it. The last one that I wanted to look at was question 12, I think. Yes, is that the one? Yes, question 12 here. And I'm not going to draw it out, but there's a pie shape with 12 equal pie, or pardon me, there's a circle with 12 equal pie shapes. And there's 3 blue, then 2 red, then 1 yellow, then 3 red, then 3 green. And the question is, what's the probability that the spinner will land on red? Okay, so I can see that there's 12 outcomes. My denominator has to be 12. And there are 5 reds. I know they're not together, but it doesn't matter. There's 5 equal slices that are red. So my probability of getting red is 5 out of 12, or 41.6 repeating, 41.7%. That's it. So make sure, today's Thursday, make sure you get all of Tuesday, Wednesdays, and today's work done. I'm going to post a practice quiz today. The actual quiz is next Wednesday. Practice quiz, you don't have to do it all in one day, but make sure you've got all the previous work done, and then start working through that. I would recommend questions 1 to 7, and then tomorrow I'll go over a bunch of those questions with you. So have a good rest of your day. Hopefully I'll see some of you in person very soon. Take care.